Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, good evening everybody. Welcome to another edition of the AxesOfTrader.com nightly update show. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope everybody's living their best life. Again, that's the end of the game. The end game is the end game, is happiness, health, and family. Everything else is kind of a cherry on top. So hopefully everyone's doing well. Guys, do me a favor, take a second out, support the channel. I try to give you guys my unbiased opinion every single day. Hopefully I'll continue to point you in the right direction. All it takes is a tenth of a second. Click the like button and I will continue to do my best. So in case you weren't breathing since last Friday will go down as the biggest heist in world financial history. And anybody who's sane and has common sense is impossible to convince otherwise. In case you weren't alive in the last few days, there was a pretty big deal on Friday with Trump announcing major tariffs, 100% tariffs on China. That sent the equities markets to a $1 trillion erasing in cap. The crypto market, especially the alt crap coins, went to zero basically, and a lot of traders got absolutely destroyed. I mean, really destroyed and caught off guard, only for Trump to say, hours later, everybody relax, everything will be okay. You can't really say relax to somebody who just lost pretty much all their money in 2 hour span. But again, it is what it is. Over the weekend, if you watched the video, you kind of knew that several things were going to happen. It was impossible to make a watch list because, again, any type of news would move the market. We knew that if there was absolutely no news that came out over the weekend, there's a very good chance the market is going to run back up. And if there was more bad news or specifics in a retaliation of some sort of comment coming out of China, we were going to have an extensive fall come Monday morning. The weird part about today's session is obviously there was no kind of rebuttal from China, at least anything major. So the market gapped up, right? Market gapped up, 400 points or so. NASDAQ gapped up about 400 points. And as everybody can imagine, it went just kind of sideways for the rest of the day. There was some things I took out of today's session that kind of stood out to me. Okay. Number one, I was expecting volatility. We got no volatility. I'm talking about no volatility at all. This is the 60-minute view of the QQQs, right? This is a fake wick. So we gapped up and just literally went sideways for 5 hours. So there was absolutely no volatility. We were looking for some sort of kind of counter, I don't know if it's counterattack, but counter measures coming out of China, or at least something to that regard. We got nothing. So silence. So it was very eerie. It felt very odd. The most important part in what I saw today was kind of the lack of, despite the NASDAQ, earning back. Again, remember, we lost 3.5% on Friday. We made back about 2.2% today. The weirdest part about today's session, the majority, I'm not saying all, but the majority of stocks that were rallying back today, or at least had a green day. Number one, as expected, they had an inside day. As you can see, this was an inside candle to Friday's session. So nothing, in my opinion, has been fixed, right? Nothing, in my opinion, has been resolved. It's going to take a few more sessions to kind of rationalize what this inside day has gone, right? As you can see here, the inside day today got correlated below the 5-10 day supply and above the 20. So we're going to have a very definitive next move. Either the Q's reclaiming back, let's just use the word roughly 604, 605 on the close, or a loss below 597. So I think above 604, we're bullish. Below 597, where I don't want to use the word bearish, but where it will ignite a sell signal and probably test back the lows here. The question is now, was last week, regardless of what happened, right? The scoreboard is a scoreboard now. We're kind of here. Okay. So regardless of what your opinion, what happened last Friday, tragic to investors, especially the crypto market, we all, I think, could agree. But the point is now is here. We can't look back. We can't fix the past. Now the question is what happens next. If you go through your charts, especially in the mega cap space, you're going to notice a lot of names, right? A lot of names are going to mirror the QQQs, right? You have Amazon, okay? Didn't take out the highs, didn't take out the lows. Again, closer to the lows than the highs, but you kind of get the point. Apple, right? Apple, again, put in a red candle, which basically means a lower close and an open. It's not exactly what you want to see, especially after an engulfing candle that took out literally a month and a half worth of buying. Again, inside date, not exactly what you want to see. Microsoft, same thing, right? Microsoft, same thing. It's much closer to the bottom channel than it is to the top channel. PLTR at one point today went red, right? At one point today went red, rallied back towards the end of the day, but you kind of get it, right? A lot of the names, despite a 2.2% rally in the QQQs, are still closer to Friday's bottom range than closer to Friday's upper range. Again, I still think the jury is out. And what I mean by that is I still believe despite this inside day, usually an inside day would just be deemed bearish just because, well, we couldn't rally, get past certain levels. But the fact that this candle was so exaggerated, right? The fact that this candle took out literally a month worth of buying, I think we're probably going to need 2, 3, maybe even 4 days to kind of pick a direction from here. Obviously, the longer we go without selling, or obviously without any kind of rebuttal coming out of China, yes, maybe the higher probability that we will reclaim back the 5-10-day moving average at 604 in the Qs and start rallying back. But the longer we kind of sit in this level and kind of do nothing, and that's a very, very important part. And I'll show you guys a whole bunch of 60-minute charts that's going to really illustrate how hard it is to get back above supply in a second without a massive gap up. What we did see today was the continuation of these quantum names. And I'll tell you one thing, and I don't want to use I joked about it, but, at least the crypto holders got murdered within 2 hours, and it was a fast death. For all people that have been shorting these quantum stocks, and again, I'm going to use RGTI as a barometer here, as a conversational piece. Man, this thing is higher than it was last week, right? So it really is amazing how there's still a sector that's doing incredibly well. The quantum names are going just nuts. I mean, look at OKLO. It just continues to go crazy, man. There's just so many names that are just absolutely going nuts, while the rest of the market is kind of trapped in this middle of a channel, kind of an inside day scenario. Did we see some interesting things today? Yeah. Okay. But the most important part, and this is the way, in my opinion, I kind of describe this day. You guys remember the history books, and obviously anybody who's watching this is probably not old enough to remember this. But in the history books, you guys remember, you heard the story of when the United States bombed Japan, right? Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? It felt like the day after, the people who survived, they're kind of lifting the curtain, just seeing what's going on outside and seeing if there's anybody alive except for them. And that's kind of what it was today. You really didn't get a sense of, even though the indexes were up, but there was some moves back to the upside. And despite the moves to the upside, we still had nothing really to talk about technically yet of reclaiming any levels. But it felt like people were apprehensive of making bets, especially in the options market. Now, was there some definitive, really strong bets being placed today? Absolutely. And I want to talk about those names. Let's talk about Avago. Avago now is right there with NVIDIA, right there with AMD. And this is the latest horseman, right? Now makes it the third horseman of the latest company to be in bed with OpenAI. As you saw today, pre-market, Avago came out some news. They did something with OpenAI, blah, 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 blah. The stock gapped up very, very aggressively. Huge volume here. The call buyers stepped in very, very aggressively throughout the day. After its initial gap up, again, it kind of went sideways for 3-4 hours, just like everybody did. But Avago today came in with a lot of weekly call buying for the 375 weeklies. and the Halloween expiration for the 400 calls. Keep an eye on this tomorrow. Again, if there's a scenario of no news is good news going out tomorrow, especially from China, let's keep an eye on Vago above today's channel to see if we have another day of buying. Again, you can make a case that the market went sideways today after the initial gap up because the bond market today were closed. Okay, we'll see if that kind of translates into tomorrow's session, maybe a little bit more range. But again, we'll put that aside. What interesting bet came in today? Not one. A series of interesting bets came in, but one was really magnified. Was a buyer came in for the November 21 450 calls. Okay, and usually I would say, wow, the guy bet $1 million, 1.3, 2 million. That's a big bet. Guys, ready for this? A guy came in for the November 21st calls, the 450 calls, with a $14.4 million in premium, right? That's not a small bet. It's one of those scenarios. If you ever watch the options market, the bigger the better. That's what she said, right? So the idea that somebody bet a month out, okay, with $14+ million in premium, definitely have to keep an eye on this. So here's what has to happen with Tesla. As you can see, just like pretty much everything else, it put in an inside day as well. Didn't take out the high, didn't take out the low, but at least just like the Qs, we have a definitive levels that we know we can go long, and there's a definitive level that we can go short. On the upside, you see how today it stopped at the 10-day moving average? Tesla needs to get back above the 10-day. If we can get back above the 10-day, especially with more option flow coming in potentially tomorrow, this thing could wake up and test last week's highs. At the flip side, again, I don't care what they're betting, the price action is the price action. If Tesla loses the 20-day moving average, just because one guy is betting one way doesn't mean he's right. Because earlier in the day, we saw some buyers come in for the weekly 410 puts as well. And we saw numerous guys come in with 7-figure bets as well. So again, I don't fall in love with the stock. I fall in love with the potential range. So we know above the 10-day moving average, bullish, below the 20-day moving average, bearish. MP, right? Not really a name that I'm familiar with, but it is one of this. I'm guessing it's related to something quantum. Again, I might be completely off, but they were peppering, man. They were really peppering today, the weekly $100 calls. Keep an eye on this thing for tomorrow's session. We really want to keep an eye on anything that's strong, that's peppering with deep out of the money calls. It's definitely something we want to keep an eye on for tomorrow. In case we start pulling tomorrow, okay? In case we start pulling, guys, let's keep an eye on Apple, okay? Big engulfing candle, red close on the candle, which means the close was lower than the open. If it can start losing the supply zone on Friday's lows, this thing can get hit. Amazon as well, okay? Amazon as well. Guys, look how many it's touched the 150-day moving average 4 times, and it put an inside day. In case the market comes back in and there is more news, especially from China retaliation, we have to watch this thing, because if this thing starts losing the 150-day moving average, this thing will get pulled as well. Let me see what else I want to give you guys for tomorrow. NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA also, again, I get the whole thing, the stock is either going to go up or go down. Yeah, we get it, right? It seems funny, but these stocks are poised because of this big inside day. That's kind of what it is, the reality of everything, right? And I'm just kind of highlighting the NVIDIAs, the Apples, the Amazon, especially the Teslas of the world, because of the stocks I trade all the time and on a day-to-day basis. So NVIDIA has kind of one of the scenarios that Tesla has as well. It's kind of stuck between the 10-day and the 5-day moving average. You can see it. It's above the 5, but it's holding life above the 10. So I want to keep an eye on NVIDIA above today's channel to go long, and obviously below today's channel to go short, because that's how tight we are. And it's a very unique close, because normal inside days would really say, well, we're buying time to go lower. But because, again, I don't want to play Oliver Stone and conspiracy theory, but because this was such a really momentous time, history moment last Friday, anything can happen, right? Again, we're not out of the woods yet, both long and short. So the more data we have, the more days that we can kind of go sideways, the higher probability these channels will open up and start being very, very clear. But the most important part, always remember, okay, absolutely always remember, you don't need to trade every single day. You don't need to trade aggressively every single day. Look for the low-hanging fruit. Don't look for the exciting stuff, because the exciting stuff will give you exciting results. And some of us are not getting any older. You know, a lot of us don't need defibrillators after every single trade what Friday possess. Remember, boring, lethargic, predictable. Guys, have a great night, everybody. God bless. Stay safe. And hopefully tomorrow we can get a little bit more clarity. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.